Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs. I am Zach, and I'm back for the 7th episode of Real Topics. So today we've got a very non-diverse amount of topics. They're all kind of related, specifically to Disney. Hey, it's not my fault. It's just I don't make the news. It's just what the news is, and it's all about Disney, which I do not condone. But what can you do? So let's get into it, shall we? So starting off with a topic that I'm both excited but extremely cautious and skeptical about is that it's been reported again that Ewan McGregor is in talks to reprise his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi for a Disney Plus series. Now, I've seen some places that say it's been confirmed, and I've seen other places just say it's reported, so I'm just going to go ahead and assume it's just being reported. And that since Disney and Lucasfilm haven't confirmed anything themselves, I don't think you can really call that confirmed. Nice try, news. But let's discuss this. So, ideally, if you watched our Star Wars, what we would do with Star Wars video, yes, I would love an Obi-Wan series. I think it's the smart move. Lots of people want that. But again, it's been reported so many times that Ewan McGregor has been in talks for this, and it's never happened. And we've just been hung out to dry every time and disappointed. So until Lucasfilm announces this themselves, I'm going to kind of doubt this, and I'm going to take this with a grain of salt. Now, this would be a great move that Lucasfilm should make. They should have already begun making this move probably a couple years ago, but they haven't done that, and we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe we'll get some announcement at D23, but if not then we're going to probably have to wait until Star Wars Celebration of next year. It's a long wait. So hopefully we'll really bank on getting that D23 announcement later this month. And Lucasfilm, direct address time. Everybody loves Ewan McGregor. Everybody loved Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. He was one of the best parts of the prequels. He is the perfect age to play Obi-Wan between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. There's story there. Believe me, there's things you can do to make this interesting. Probably not for a movie or a trilogy. I know that was being thrown around earlier in the We Want an Obi-Wan movie days, but for a Disney Plus series, there's material that you could draw from. There's space. There's 20 years of space that you can really play with Obi-Wan, and he's on an entire planet. So if you're telling me that there's nothing to do on Tatooine, you don't know much about Star Wars. Tatooine has Jabba the Hutt, all those Gaines. It's a planet. Like, that's like saying there's nothing to do on Earth. I mean, there's tons to do on every planet, so they can find a story, and hopefully it'll be good. I'd love to ideally see Obi-Wan kind of struggle with this whole process of, his whole entire family, if you will, was murdered by his student, his brother, sort of, and he's got to kind of figure out if he wants to even be a Jedi, if he wants to even follow Yoda's instructions and follow the plan, or if he wants to give up. And that would be a cool, not only mental, but like a spiritual struggle for Obi-Wan to have to overcome. And obviously he'll eventually end up doing that because we see him in A New Hope, and he's very motivated and dedicated to training Luke. And I don't know what else to say, Disney. It's there. You better do it. It's easy money. I know you love that. And we all love Obi-Wan, so let's make a deal. Moving on to another Star Wars topic, Rian Johnson has said that his Star Wars trilogy will not feature legacy characters. And I think this is a good thing. So that means it will not feature any characters, presumably, that have ever been in Star Wars before. They will all be new characters. Maybe there'll be some minor characters that we know, but no major ones like Luke or Leia or Han or whatever. And this is a good thing, because I think it was evident that Rian Johnson mishandled the legacy characters in The Last Jedi in favor of subverting our expectations, and it did not work. I mean, what other side of the fence you're on, it's obvious that movie split the Star Wars fandom right down the middle, and there's now a chasm between Star Wars. It's been fractured, and it needs to be repaired, and I think this is a good step toward that, because I think people will give Rian Johnson a chance if he is just kind of playing with his own sandbox and new characters. I think this trilogy could end up being good, and I'm more willing to see it now that I know that it won't have any of our beloved characters, and he can just go ahead and develop new ones, and that's kind of what Star Wars needs. We need new characters. We can't just keep milking the same old ones over and over again. which is ironically, I think, the point he was trying to make in The Last Jedi. I just think he went about it in a completely wrong way, and he kind of just pissed all over the old characters. And that's not how you do it. You have to gracefully exit stage with them. You can't just push them into the crowd. You've got to give them their dues. You've got to give the people what they want. And we wanted to see a Luke Skywalker that was familiar to us. We wanted to see the Luke that we always thought we'd see in 30 years. And we just didn't get that, and it felt very disrespectful. But Rian Johnson, with this blank slate, I think he can do good things. So we will see. And the next topic, again, is Star Wars. It's very much related. Everything in this video is kind of linked. Benioff and Weiss, it's been reported that Disney is altering the deal with them, and they are no longer going to write all three of their Star Wars movies that they're producing. They're going to write one of them, and they're going to give treatments for the other two. And this is also a good thing. I think after season 8 of Game of Thrones, it is obvious that they are not the greatest writers. It's kind of a matter of whether or not you believe that they were always bad writers and they were kind of being shielded by George R. R. Martin's incredible world design and character development and source material from the books, of course, or if they just got lazy and wanted to be done with Game of Thrones. Now, in the first place, if I were Lucasfilm, would I have signed Benioff and Weiss up for a contract to make 3 new Star Wars films during a time in which the Star Wars fandom is as volatile as it's ever been? And that's saying something, let's be honest. No, I wouldn't have. But that's where we're at right now. And essentially, as little writing as Benioff and Weiss have to do, I think the trilogy will be better for it. I just don't trust their writing. I think that's a very fair statement and belief to hold after season 8 of Game of Thrones. It was awful. It was horrible. But I think it's more likely that they just got lazy and wanted to be done with Game of Thrones than it is that they never had any talent to begin with. Because they did have some good original ideas throughout the first 6 or 7 seasons of Game of Thrones. I'll give them that credit. But it was unacceptable what they did in the last season, and hopefully they've learned from all that with all this backlash, and hopefully they'll deliver us a great Star Wars trilogy. That's all we can really hope for. We should never want Star Wars to be bad. And our next topic is again about Benioff and Weiss. They have signed a $200 million deal with Netflix. That is a lot of freaking money. Netflix, as you know, is about to go to war with Disney over the streaming platform, and I think they're going to lose, but they're right now just kind of grasping at straws and trying to collect as many, I guess, talented people as they can in an attempt to at least prolong this conflict with Disney. But Benioff and Weiss, right now, I think it's just bad timing. This announcement came out like a couple weeks after the season finale of Game of Thrones. The script came out and was just getting ridiculed all over the internet. So I don't think even dropping the name Benioff and Weiss within your company is a good idea right now, but they went ahead and gave them $200 million. So they're getting made fun of for that right now. I can understand it. Logically, I understand what they're trying to do, but gathering big names can kind of be a double-edged sword, and Benioff and Weiss have a black mark on them right now, as I just went into. I'm not going to go over it again. But yeah, this is kind of a risk. It could pay off if Benioff and Weiss are indeed as talented as Game of Thrones seasons 1 through 6 showed them to be. But if they're not, this is going to be a blunder from Netflix. So again, we're just going to have to wait and see. I am curious to see what kind of shows they have planned. I heard they wanted to do one about if the South had won the Civil War, and that probably isn't a good idea. Probably shouldn't do that. You're kind of paying a target on your back in today's climate if you even go there. So hopefully they avoid that, and hopefully they give us some nice original content. I mean, look, I'm trying to be optimistic in this episode. Is it working? And our last topic of the day is that Toy Story 4 just passed $1 billion at the box office globally. And this is the 5th Disney film this year to hit $1 billion. Disney has, I believe, broken their own record for total box office grossing in a year. And we still have 4 more months to go. And Star Wars Episode 9 and Frozen 2, which are both almost guaranteed to cross the $1 billion mark. I would put money on it. God is dead and Disney has killed him. by burying him in billions of dollars worth of money. That was Real Topics. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, almost forgot. Bye!